So what did we get when we looked at antioxidant activity? So that is all the activity of antioxidants measured by a colorimetric assay, some type of colorimetric assay. We found that both with the weighted meta-analysis and the unweighted meta-analysis, there was significantly more antioxidant activity in organic crops. And the p-values, which give you an idea of your level of certainty, are very, very, very low. And I repeat, very, very, very low, which means you are very, very, very certain that this result is right. Okay. Now, if we looked at the individual antioxidants, and these are our explanatory assessments. If we want to explain why the antioxidant activity is higher, we need to really only also show that the intake of individual antioxidant compounds is higher. And for basically any antioxidant compound that people have measured in crops, the levels were higher. And usually, the results we got from the weighted and unweighted meta-analysis gave pretty similar differences. And they were always, in most cases, both significant, although sometimes it was just a trend towards significance. But then on some compounds, like these flavonoids here, we have big differences between the weighted and unweighted meta-analysis. And quite often that was related to the fact that in the weighted meta-analysis, we couldn't include certain crop types for which we had data for the unweighted meta-analysis. So it depends on the data sets that we had available for the two types of analysis. But for most of them we got pretty similar results. And for only one antioxidant compound, for tocopherol, the overall trend is negative. We have more of those in conventional foods. But for all the others, there was significantly more in organic foods. Okay, what are these antioxidants polyphenolics? Well, antioxidants, they neutralize free radicals in your body, which automatically form in everybody's body and cause cell damage, which then can lead to chronic diseases, including things like cancer and coronary heart disease. And they have been linked, especially the antioxidants that we take in very large amounts with crop-based foods. They're much higher in things like berries, fruits, and fresh vegetables than they are, let's say, in something like meat or starch. And that brings us to the big question, why? So why should not using mineral fertilizers, not using pesticides, switching to a different rotation, using different varieties in organic farming, increase antioxidant concentrations in organic crops? If we looked at all the indicators of nitrogen supply to crops that you can get from a nutritional analysis, which is basically the concentration of nitrogen. If you give more nitrogen to a plant, you would have expect it to have higher concentrations of nitrogen. So that's a very strong indicator. But also the amount of nitrate and nitrite you have in your crops. Because the more nitrate you give, the less a plant is able to incorporate it into its proteins. There's a rate limiting step there. So what they quite often then accumulate is nitrate and nitrite instead. So both the total amount of nitrogen and the concentrations of nitrate and nitrite were higher in conventional crops. You get more nitrogen applied, there's more nitrogen applied to them, so these compounds are higher. Organic cereals, and these figures are mainly influenced by the amount of protein in cereals. Organic cereals also contain less protein. That's an effect of giving less nitrogen, because nitrogen is used to manufacture proteins in the plant. We have known for a very, very long time that the more nitrogen you give to certain crops, the lower its plant defense compound accumulation becomes. So the things which the nutritionists like to have as antioxidants are also defense compounds in a plant. And basically, to cut a long story short, whenever we looked at antioxidant compounds, and whatever antioxidant compound we looked at, it was always linked to the type of fertilization we used. Basically, the difference comes from using an organic versus a mineral fertilizer driven fertilization regime. And that, again, supports the hypothesis that it's linked primarily to nitrogen supply to that crop.